Hello everyone. Let's review shlokas 124 and 125 in Lalita Sahasranamam. ādiśaktir ameyātmā paramā pāvanākṛtiḥ anekakoṭi brahmāṇḍa jananī divyavigrahā klīṅkārī kevalā guhyā kaivalya padadāyinī tripurā trijagadvandyā trimūrti tridaśeśvarī. Let's look at the meanings of the namas. Before we get into the meaning, just briefly, we are looking at Devi in the yoga. So we are contemplating upon Devi and how will we think about her. She is ādiśaktir. ādiśaktir, Adi means first or something that came before. Shakti is the source of the universe. It is the energy of the universe. So as ādiśaktir, she is the primordial source. She is the one who came first. Ameyā. Ameyā means immeasurable. So as the ādiśaktir that came first, what it means is that she is the ultimate reality. There was just that. And that ultimate reality is beyond any measure, beyond any description. It is beyond all imaginations and therefore it is immeasurable. ātmā. Atma here references the jivatma. There is the small I and there is the individual soul in everything that manifests. So she is the jivatma. Paramā. Paramā here references the paramatma, the universal consciousness. So it is the big I and she is also the universal consciousness. And so jivatma and paramatma is one and the same, and the process of realizing that is called as liberation. Pavanākṛtiḥ. Pavana means pure. Kritihi means makes. She is someone who makes us pure. That means she cleanses us. She clears our mind and makes sure that we have good thoughts, we have good words, we use good words and we take good actions. Anekakoṭi brahmāṇḍa jananī. Aneka means several, na ekam. So aneka means several, koti means crores, brahmāṇḍam means universe, and jananī means one who gave birth. Jananī means mother. So she is the mother of several million universes. So it's not just she created one universe, she created several million of them. So anekakoṭi brahmāṇḍa jananī, she is the mother of the billions of universe that exist. Divyavigrahā. Divyam means divine. Anything that's celestial is divyam. Vigrahā means form or shape, and in this context we can think of it as body. She is the divine body because she is the divine body who holds all those millions of universe within her. Klīṅkārī. So Kleem is a bijam. It's a bija mantra. It's called as Kamaraja bijam. And klīṅkārī. She is of the bija Kleem. And she is the essence of that bija Kleem. So the Kamaraja mantra, anyone who chants it, it gives them everything that they want. So it will fulfill all their desires. So in that she is klīṅkārī. Kevalā. Kevalā means one who is one and only. So in the Kamaraja bijam, the ka, la, im, if you see ka and la are consonants and im is a vowel. And if you see the consonants can't be without the vowel, but vowels by themselves can make full words. Similarly, if you look at the ka, la, im, the im can exist by itself and it is none other than Kundalini. So Lalitambika is a union of Shiva and Shakti. And the union of Shiva and Shakti is called as Kamakala. And it is represented as two triangles, one upward triangle and another downward triangle intersecting each other. Any of you who are familiar with Muruga, there is a Saravana Baba. And that entire Kamakala represents the totality of the creation, and she represents the im, which is the apex of the two triangles. So she is the one and only. Guhyā. Guhyam means mystery. It is frequently regarded as secret, but guhyam is a mystery. That means something that is not easily visible. If you set your intent to find it, you will find it. So it is something that can be hiding in plain sight. So guhyā can be interpreted as secret, but it can also be interpreted as mystery. Kaivalya padadāyinī. Kaivalyam means liberation. Liberation from all our desires, all our fears, all our doubts, all our wants. So kaivalyam. Kaivalya padam means the state of liberation. Dayini means one who can give. So she is one who can grant liberation. So there are several stages in the process of enlightenment, and the first one starts with salokyam, which means there is a God and the God and I exist in the same, but the God is different from me. Then there is samīpyam, so that means getting near to God. And then there is sarupyam, which means having the vision of God or being able to recognize the essence of God without needing something that is visual. So without that, we are able to feel the presence of God. So there is samīpyam, so getting near to God. The God becomes our favorite. And then there is sayujyam, which is feeling oneness with that particular God. So still the God is different and we are different, but still feeling the oneness with the God, enjoying the same things, just like two friends would enjoy. So that is called a sayujyam. And then the final thing is called as kaivalyam. So the kaivalyam means merging with the God, becoming just one with the God, not feeling oneness with the God, but becoming one with the God. And she is someone who is capable of granting that state. Tripurā. Three means three, and puram can be looked at in many ways. Pura in Sanskrit means, or pura means first, or something that came before, something that came long ago. That's why we say Puranam, something that happened before. So Tripurā means she is one who came before the three. And what is that three? That is the Trinity. So she came before Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So in that we saw ādiśaktir, she is the primordial source, and Tripurā also means the same. Puram, on the other hand, also can mean a state, a position, a city. You can say all of those. And she's someone who is the responsible for all the three sides of reality, or the three aspects of reality, which is called as triad. And Puram can also be an aspect. So the three aspects of reality. So we have seen dhyana, dhyatru, dhyeya. So for us, as we engage in reality, when we interact with the gross world, there is always three sides to it. There is us, the subject, and there is something that we are experiencing, which is the object, and then there is the process of experiencing. This is what we say, dhyana, dhyatru, dhyeya. So that one ultimate reality becomes three. And when that three collapses into one, the person has achieved liberation. So in that, she is the three sides of the reality, the three aspects of the reality. And there are lots of things that we can say about three. There are many things in this universe that are three. We can say there are three gunams, right? The tamo gunam, rajo gunam, and satvika gunam. There are three. And then if you see, as human beings, we all have three states. We have jagrat, which is the state of being awake. And then there is swapna, where we are dreaming. And then there is sushupti, there is a deep sleep. And she is also someone who rules over us in all of this. She's with us in all of that. So Tripurā means a triad. And there are many triads like that. And we can keep on telling the number three. If you look at it, she is the Kundalini. And the Kundalini is in the Sushumna Nadi. And there is Ida and Pingala. So in that, she resides as the three. And she oscillates between the two. And then when the breath is under control, then it goes through the Sushumna Nadi. So she is in the three. So she is the triad of reality. Trijagadvandyā. Three again here is represents the number three. Jagat means worlds, and Vandya means worshipped by. So she is worshipped by all the three worlds. And what are they referencing to? They're referencing to the earth, the thing above earth, and then the Swarga. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Swarom. This comes in the Gayatri mantra. So those are the three worlds. And she is worshipped by the people who are inhabitants of all the three worlds. Trimūrti. Trimūrti means she is the form of three. And again, as we said in Tripura, there are so many things that are three, and she is everything. And Trimūrti, we can also represent that as Trinity. And therefore, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva are actually her. She manifests as Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Tridaśeśvarī. Three again is three. Dasha means, one way you can look at it as a state. And Ishwari means she is the ruler. She is the ruler of those who have three states. What does that mean? So, if you look at anything that is born into this universe, anything that takes birth, it has to go through four stages. First is birth, then there is growth, then there is decay, and there is death. So, everything that is born has an expiry date towards it, and it goes through these four stages. But as we all know, the Devas actually had Amrita, and because of which they are immortal. Therefore, the Devas have only three states, and that is birth, growth and decay, but they do not have death. And therefore, they are all called as Tridasha. There are only three states that are applicable for them. And she is the ruler of those people, or she is the sovereign who rules over them. She is considered as the supreme ruler by those devas, and therefore she is Tridaśeśvarī. The other way to look at it is, it also, here Dasha, you can think of it as 10, and 3 times 10 is 30, and it means that she is the ruler of the group of 30 people. And who are those 30? Actually, there are Dvadasha Aditya, so 12 suns, and then there are Ashtavasus, 8 of them, and then there are 11 Rudras, and so and then if you add the Ashwini brothers, that makes it 33, and she is the person who rules over all of them. So with that, we have covered all the namas in these 2 shlokas. Let's look at a story that's related to Tripurā. So we said Tripurā means one who came before the Trinity. And who is that? Who is the one who came before the Trinity? How do we reach her? How do we get to know about her? And what is the process to get to know about her? So all of this is described in a book called Tripura Rahasya. So the Tripuram is the Trinity, and Rahasyam is now same like Guhyam. You can think of it as a mystery. So it is the mystery of the Trinity, or the mystery that came before the Trinity, or the mystery that led to the Trinity. So how did they come up with? And again, Tripura, you can also think of it as the triad of reality. That one ultimate reality became 3. And so, what is that mystery? Where did it come from? What is the source of all of this? And this is what is described in Tripura Rahasya, and it was written by somebody called Haritayana. And the speciality of Tripura Rahasyam is that it is a practical guide to enlightenment. It tells people how to conduct yourself in order to reach that enlightenment. So what we will see today is a story about how this thing came about, how was it written, and the events that led to the creation of Tripura Rahasya. So once upon a time, there was a king called Kartavirya Arjuna, and he was a king of Haihaya dynasty. And he was also called as Sahasrabahu, meaning that he had 1,000 arms, and that means he was very powerful. And he ruled a city called Mahishmati. And these might be very familiar. Mahishmati comes in this popular movie called Bahubali, and this Kartavirya Arjuna is also called as Sahasrabahu. So Kartavirya Arjuna is regarded as a very good king, and he did lots of good things for his people. But as time passed, Kartavirya Arjuna also became very proud and arrogant, and in general at that time, a lot of these kings had become unilateral, and then they weren't thinking about the good of all the people in their kingdom. Sometimes they were favoring a few people, not being nice to everyone. So this was the situation there. And Kartavirya Arjuna obviously had a lot of pride in his ability. And therefore he went ahead and started having problems, or he was causing issues, or spoiling for fight with several people. And one day he was talking to Varuna and he was annoying Varuna. And he told Varuna that there is nobody equivalent to him, that he's the best of all. At that time, Varuna said, don't think that you're the best of all. There is a son of sage Jamadagni who's called as Parasurama, and he is a warrior who's equivalent to your might. In fact, he's better than you. So this really annoyed Kartavirya Arjuna, and he had to go find out who is this Parasurama. How come a rishi's son is able to be a better warrior? So he wanted to find out, and so he proceeded to sage Jamadagni's ashram. And when he went to sage Jamadagni's ashram, sage Jamadagni was very nice to Kartavirya Arjuna. He received him very well, and he made sure all his army had enough to eat, and he provided food. And Kartavirya Arjuna was a bit surprised, and then he found out that Sage Jamadagni had a Kamadhenu that was able to give anything needed, and therefore all the army could be fed. And when they went there to the sage's ashram, Parashurama was not there. He had gone somewhere. And therefore Kartavirya Arjuna could not get to see Parasurama and figure out for himself how good he is. But he saw sage Jamadagni and realized, you know what, there may be some truth to it, and they have this amazing Kamadhenu and all that. So these people seem to have some power, which really annoyed Kartavirya Arjuna. And because he was spoiling for a fight, he went ahead and took the cow that sage Jamadagni had by force. He made his army just take it. And sage Jamadagni was not in a position to stop him, and therefore he took everything. After a while, Parasurama came back, and he heard all about the fact that the cow was taken by force. And Parasurama got really upset. And there is a little bit of backstory. Sage Jamadagni and Sage Vishwamitra are actually cousins, and then the Sage Ruchika had created potions to help his wife and his mother-in-law have sons, but unfortunately they got switched, and therefore Sage Vishwamitra, who was supposed to be born with the Kshatriya qualities, took the potion that was intended to be a Brahmin. And Sage Jamadagni, who was supposed to be born as a Brahmin, took the potion that was intended to be for a Kshatriya. And then Sage Ruchika's wife wanted a son who's just like her husband, and therefore she prayed to him, and therefore they were able to switch and say Sage Jamadagni will still be a rishi, but the son born to him will have the qualities of Kshatriya, and that's who Parasurama is. And therefore Parasurama is actually has the qualities of the warrior, and therefore he did not hesitate to go fight with the king. He challenged Kartavirya Arjuna, went there and fought a battle with him, and he was successful, and he killed Kartavirya Arjuna and brought the cow back. And then he went about his business. He was doing what he normally does. He wasn't in the ashram. But the sons of Kartavirya Arjuna now had vengeance in their mind. So Kartavirya Arjuna was such a popular king, and after all, over a matter of a cow being taken by force, he had to lose his life. So they thought this was a big insult to his legacy, and they were waiting for a chance, and they knew they weren't as strong as their father, and if Parasurama could kill their father, he was not an equal enemy, but they still wanted to get a vengeance. And therefore, when Parasurama was away, they went to the ashram of Sage Jamadagni and then killed Sage Jamadagni. When Parasurama came back, he found out that his father was killed, and his mother Renuka was sitting by her father. And Sage Parasurama was very, very angry. And then his mother told that, first you need to make sure that your father is burnt near the Ganges, and his ashes need to be put in there. And she also expressed her desire to immolate herself along with her husband. So Parasurama had no other choice, and that was the norm in those days, and he had to respect his mother's wishes, and therefore he carried his father on the shoulder and then he took his mother on another shoulder, and they went towards Ganges so that they could burn burn the body of Sage Jamadagni, and Renuka can do her sati. And as they went through the forest, they met a sage there, and he was none other than Dattatreya. And Dattatreya is actually considered as an avatar of Vishnu, and he was born to sage Atri and Anasuya. So Atri Maharishi and Anasuya, that's why he is Datta Atreya, because he is Atri Maharishi's son. So Dattatreya is considered as a form of Vishnu because Anasuya was granted a boon by the Trinity that they will be born as her children, and therefore Durvasa Maharishi is an aspect of Shiva, and Chandra is also a son of Atri Maharishi and Anasuya, and he is an aspect of Brahma, and Datta is an aspect of Vishnu. And so he is a very enlightened person, and he is considered as a guru, and they met him. And he saw Renuka, and he realized that she was going to immolate herself, and so he offered his namaskarams to her. And then Renuka said, I want one favor from you. Now her husband was gone, and she's going to immolate herself. And she said, if Parasurama ever needed any help, if any time in life he approaches you, you should help him, you should guide him. And therefore, Dattatreya said, okay, fine, I will do that. And she also told Parasurama, if at any point in life you feel lost, you don't know what to do, where to go next, at that time, remember to reach out to Dattatreya. So all this was agreed, and therefore Parasurama went near the Ganges, finished all the rituals that needed to be done. Obviously, he had revenge in mind, and this Kartavirya Arjuna's sons killing his father created a enmity in him on all Kshatriyas, and combined with the fact that at that time the Kshatriyas were also behaving in an unjust manner, he had a complete vengeance against all these Kshatriyas, and therefore he took an oath to eradicate these Kshatriyas from the world. And therefore he went on a revenge spree, and he killed all the Kshatriyas. It is said that he killed 21 generations of Kshatriyas. He didn't even leave small babies or anything like that. And as it was going on for a long time, once then he felt like he was still avenging his ancestors. At that time, his ancestors showed up along with Sage Jamadagni, and they said, please stop all this carnage. This is becoming too much bloodshed. So please stop all this. You've eradicated 21 generations. So now that attitude would not be there anymore. So please stop this. And therefore, Parasurama stopped all of this, and he went back, and he was going about his business. So as he was going about his business, in the meantime, after a while, he receives a flash news. And what is that flash news? He is hearing that there is a new Kshatriya, and his name is Rama, and he is the son of Dashratha, and he is so powerful that he was able to break the Shiva Dhanush. So what had happened at that time was that Rama, who's the son of Dashratha, he went along with sage Vishwamitra in order to protect his yajna, and there he killed the demons who were spoiling that. And then along with sage Vishwamitra, they went to Mithila, and Mithila where Janaka is the king. And as Rama entered Mithila and was about to enter the palace, Sita was standing along with all her friends in the balcony. And it just so happened that as Rama entered in, he looked up, and Sita was also looking down, and they both saw, their eyes met, and it was love at first sight. And Sita just could not forget this man who he had just seen. He was so handsome. And Rama also liked her, but he did not show anything outwardly. And then sage Vishwamitra suggested to Rama that he should also participate in the Swayamvara for Sita that was going to happen the next day. So Rama, as his guru said, he was going to do that. And then if you see with King Janaka, he had set a rule that anyone who is able to handle the Sivadhanush is the one who can marry Sita. Because when Sita was young, one day she was playing ball, and this ball went under the bow. And this is a bow from Shiva. right? And it is a most powerful bow. There are only three powerful bows, and it is one that one Shiva has, one Vishnu has, and then the other one Arjuna had. So those are the three, and actually it is said that it was given to Arjuna by Krishna. But anyways, those are the three bows that are very powerful, and it's not easy for anybody to handle them. But Sita, even though she was a little girl, was able to casually move that bow and take the ball and go. And King Janaka saw that, and he knew this girl was very special, and therefore he made sure that he will find a match who's equivalent to her. Only then he has to show his prowess, and only then he'd allow to marry. So lots of prince and kings had come, and there Rama not just handled Shivadhanush, actually he was able to break the Shivadhanush into two. And everybody was so happy. And then Sita found out that the person that she saw the previous day was the person who did this. And then sage Vishwamitra told all about Rama to King Janaka, who was very happy to have King Dashratha as his sambandhi, and therefore immediately word was sent to King Dashratha, who came, and he was also very happy with this match. And then as a happy coincidence, they happened to have three other girls, King Janaka's brother's daughters as well as his own daughter, and therefore Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna could also marry sisters. And so this was like a grand wedding. Everything had happened, and they were just coming back. They were more going towards Ayodhya. And you can imagine the ecstasy, right? It was 4 weddings that happened at the same time. So now they're all coming in the chariot, and as they're coming, suddenly there are all these bad omens that are appearing. So there is the owl screeching, the deers are running scared, and the clouds are gathering, and there is wind blowing, and everything looks as if something bad is going to happen. And everybody was a bit worried about all these bad omens. And then suddenly, just like that, in all that wind, there was Parashurama who had materialized in front of this procession. As soon as Dasharatha saw Parashurama, Dasharatha's heart actually sank. He was like, everybody knows that Parashurama is out there to kill Kshatriyas. And here he is with us. He's a Kshatriya. He has 4 of his sons, and they're just getting married. And this is supposed to extend his generation or his legacy. And there is Parashurama. So nobody wants to mess with Parashurama. And there is sage Vasishta, who's also in the wedding party. And quickly he makes all his assistants go greet Parashurama, give him water, make sure he's in a good mood. But Parashurama has eyes only for one person. He is not willing to talk to Dasharatha. He is not willing to listen to sage Vasishta. He is not listening to anybody. He's looking straight at Rama. And Dasharatha saw that and was very worried that Parashurama had come to kill Rama. So Parashurama directly challenges Rama, and he says that, I heard that you are such a great warrior, that you are an amazing Kshatriya who was able to go break the Shivadhanush. Are you that smart a warrior? And Rama did not say anything. He was standing there being very respectful. And then Parashurama said, you know what? You may have broken the Shivadhanush. Now I want to put a test for you. And if you pass in that test, then I will challenge you to fight with me. And what was that test? He said, I have a bow, and you handle this bow and release an arrow from that. Then I will accept that you are a worthy warrior. You are a good Kshatriya. And what was that bow? That bow was none other than Sharngadhanva, the Vishnu's bow. So he went ahead and gave it. And then Rama very respectfully told Parasurama, you are a Brahmin and I'm a Kshatriya, and as a Kshatriya I'm supposed to give you respect, and as a Kshatriya I'm supposed to protect Brahmins. So I do not want to raise weapons against Brahmins. That's not the kind of person I am. But on the other hand, I'm a Kshatriya, and if somebody says, are you a good enough warrior, and issues a challenge, it is unlike a Kshatriya to retreat from that challenge without accepting it. So now you put me in the situation where I have to follow my Kshatriya Dharmam, and I have to show you what I'm capable of. And because of that, I will accept your challenge and let me take the bow. So then immediately Rama took the bow, and then he put the arrow, and he was trying to see where to point. And now all the devas are looking from the heaven, and they're all terrified that he's going to point it towards the sky and it would all impact them. The Sharngadhanva is a very, very powerful bow, and it is Vishnu's. And so, as soon as Parasurama saw Rama handling the Sharngadhanva, immediately he realized that he is none other than Vishnu himself. And as a reminder, Parasurama is also an avatar of Vishnu. So then Rama was looking at all the places where he can aim, and then he asked Parasurama, where should I aim this arrow? And then Parasurama said, aim that arrow at my anger. Aim the arrow at my belly button, so all my anger, all this ego, everything can go away. So in the belly button, we have the Vishnu Granthi, that is the seat of all our identity, everything that we hold as who I am. And that's a very important thing that needs to come off before a person can reach liberation. So he says, aim it at me. And then Rama says that, you're a Brahmin and I will not put an arrow near that. And then Parasurama says, no, it's okay, you point it and it won't harm me. And therefore, Rama releases that arrow, and then Parasurama immediately vanishes. So what had really happened was that there was a demon called Atula. And this Atula was praying to Brahma, and he wanted immortality. Obviously, Brahma wouldn't grant immortality. But Atula had a very clever request for Brahma. He said, I should not be killed unless and until Vishnu is defeated. And Brahma will grant anything that is not immortality. So they said, okay. And then Atula became very difficult to handle. And so Vishnu swallowed him. And therefore he was sitting in Vishnu's belly button. And Vishnu took the avatar of Parasurama, and therefore Atula was sitting in the belly button. So the only time Atula could be killed is when Vishnu is defeated. And that's why, if you see in this, Rama, who is an avatar of Vishnu, defeated Parasurama, who's also an avatar of Vishnu. Vishnu cannot be defeated by anybody else. He is the supreme reality. There is nobody else who can defeat Vishnu. The only way it can happen is if Vishnu defeats himself. And that's what happened in this case. So it is said that Atula was killed, and that's why all of this happened. So then regardless, Parasurama had disappeared from that, and now his identity, the ego, everything he had lost, the anger, everything had subsided. But in a moment, he did not know where to go. You can see for so many years, he was eradicating 21 generations of Kshatriyas. That means this was the one that was moving him forward in life. The vengeance was the one thing that was moving him. Now that's gone, and this Atula is gone from him. He didn't know where to go. And at that time, he remembered what his mother had said. If you don't know where to go to Dattatreya. So when he went to Dattatreya, he found out where he was. He went to Dattatreya. Dattatreya knew that Parasurama would come to him. And so Dattatreya actually showed him the way. And when he asked about the purpose, he wanted to know who he was. He wanted to move towards liberation. Then Dattatreya introduced him to Tripura Rahasya. So this is something that was given by Shiva to Vishnu. Vishnu taught it to Brahma, and Brahma taught it to Dattatreya. So he gave the knowledge of the supreme truth. What is the source of this universe and how to become one with that source of universe, which is the liberation process. So Tripura Rahasya actually has over 12,000 shlokas, and it is divided into 3 big sections. So there is Mahatmya Kandam, which talks all about Lalita Tripura Sundari and her greatness. And then there is Jnana Kandam, which is the essence of the supreme truth. And then the speciality of Tripura Rahasya is the Charya Kandam, where it talks about how to conduct yourself so that you can achieve that reality. So all this was given, and obviously the knowledge about supreme truth is not something that you browse through and read and go in one go. It is a practice, and you have to live and breathe that truth, and it is not even something that's easy to understand. So initially Parasurama learned from Dattatreya, and then he had to go through, there is all this guilt accumulated and all the things, so he had to go through and let go of all of that, after which he became ready for receiving that supreme truth. And then after he became ready for receiving that supreme truth, and Dattatreya passed it on to him, he had to go practice that, and then he practiced it, and then he attained liberation. And Dattatreya said, you will have a disciple called Haritayana who would come and reach out to you. You should pass on this knowledge to Haritayana. So just as Dattatreya had predicted, Haritayana had reached out to Parasurama, and Parasurama taught all the truth that he had learned from Dattatreya. And then one day, Haritayana was sitting in the Madurai Meenakshi temple, and he was praying to her. And Haritayana is now a jnani. He was able to practice all of that and live and breathe that ultimate truth. So the thing with these jnanis, one who has really attained liberation actually has no need to talk about it. They don't have to tell the whole world that I've achieved it. They are in their own world, in a happy place, and therefore they don't feel the need to talk about it. If at all they are writing anything like that, it is only for lokakshemam, because they want to help other people to move. So now Haritayana has reached this jnani level, and he's just praying to Goddess. Sage Narada came, and he said, Haritayana, I came to read the book that you're going to write. And Haritayana was very surprised. What is the book that I'm going to write? And then Sage Narada said, no, Brahma told me that you're going to bring the knowledge about the supreme truth, and you're going to help people understand how to attain that if they're serious about it. So I came to read about it, because I'm also interested in understanding how to attain that ultimate reality. And then Sage Haritayana said, you know what, yes, I learnt it from Parasurama, who learnt it from Dattatreya, but I'm not someone who's great at writing books. I didn't even know how to write a book, so I don't think I can do this. And then Sage Narada said, no, Brahma said you would do it. And then at that time, Brahma appeared, and Haritayana said, this task seems to be beyond me. I don't know whether I'm able to write a book and explain things in a way that other people can understand. And then Brahma blessed him with that ability, and he said, you will be able to write 4 chapters a day. And he also tasked Sage Narada and said, you stay here and proofread what Haritayana is writing, so that it is something that those people who are serious in this path will be able to understand. So that is how the Tripura Rahasya book came to be, and Haritayana wrote 4 chapters a day, and this was proofread by Narada, and that's how this is available. This is not a mainstream book, and this is also not something that is easy for people to comprehend. The book does have lots of stories, and as is normal, everything is with the parable, right? And it has dipping with all the symbolism, and as one person reads it again and again and again is when they can understand. So there is one thing though we can get from Tripura Rahasya. It is said that there are 3 steps to liberation or enlightenment. So the first step for liberation is called as Shravanam. Shravanam means listening. And what is that listening? The Shravanam is listening from a guru who's qualified to teach about that supreme truth. That is called as Shravanam. And then once the disciple hears that from their guru, then the next step will be Mananam. Mananam means contemplation. So the guru is someone who can give the supreme truth. And that's why if you see the Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi, it is called as a Upadesha Vakya. So the guru can point to the direction, the guru can give us some instructions, but with all of this supreme knowledge, the consciousness, awareness, etc., no matter what we learn, it is easy. It's very easy to understand certain things, even Advaita Vedanta. It is very easy to say the creator and the creation are one and the same. Very simply, that's what Advaita Vedanta says. The cognitive understanding is not the essence here. It is actually being able to imbibe that, contemplate upon it, and then actually live and breathe that truth, which is where enlightenment happens. So enlightenment is an experience, not just an understanding. And therefore, so the guru can only take us up to a certain point. And then it is the disciple's responsibility to go contemplate. So mananam, to think again and again, to come back, to refine their understanding, to practice what they have understood, etc. And then the final step is called as nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam means living and breathing the truth. So taking the things that we have learned and then putting that into practice so that you can attain liberation. And what Tripura Rahasya says is that usually we all think liberation means moksha, and moksha means going to some place, and that could be Vaikuntha or Swarga or whatever, but none of those are permanent things. As long as the karma sustains, there is punya that's sustaining, you can stay there, otherwise it has to come back to the continuous cycle of birth and death. Whereas enlightenment is a one that can completely cut that cycle of birth and death. And what Tripura Rahasya says is that a person is able to be liberated while living. So while you're in this universe with the physical body, the person can be liberated, and such a person is called as Jivan Muktaha. So the Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam leads to a state called Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Vikalpam means mental constructs. So the mental constructs are all our preconceptions, our perceptions, and they actually influence how we interact with the world. So going through this process, someone is able to completely be free of those constructs. And this is what we also call as vasanas. And when the vasanas, the conditioning and the grooming that we have goes away, then we really become another person. So it is our desires, what we hold close to our heart, how we perceive ourselves and how we want the world to perceive ourselves, and then all the conditioning which tells how we perceive the world. These three actually make us unique. That's why we are us. There is no combination of that. That will be exactly the same for another person. But when all that dissolves, then you can be any person, and that's called as transformation. And that is what is possible. Obviously, we started this whole process saying first step is learning from a guru. But how will that guru, how will we know which guru can teach us that? How will that guru come into our life? And that's why there are two preparatory steps here. And that guru can come into our life only because of Devi's grace. At the right time, she will send the guru. And in our Sanatana Dharma, it's always believed that the guru will show up when the disciple is ready. We don't go in search of the guru. And how does that guru show up? That is because of the grace of the Devi. So how to obtain that grace of the Devi? The grace of the Devi begins with devotion towards Devi. So the first step of any liberation is bhakti. And when we have bhakti, and sometimes bhakti can start with selfish interest. We want a certain outcome, and therefore we are associating because we've been told God is someone who's very powerful. So it can start. But as we have engaged with her, she creates this, she cleanses us. And this is why she is pāvanākṛtiḥ. So even if we engage with her for our selfish interest, she purifies our thoughts, she purifies our emotions, she purifies our feelings, and therefore slowly moves us towards a selfless situation. So the ability, and it's not selfless, rather it's a situation where our devotion becomes stronger. And therefore we become committed. So we may start as, I'll go to the temple once in a while. Then we move towards, I want to chant on a regular basis. And then slowly she becomes someone who's dear to us. These are all things where the devotion is becoming stronger. There is commitment. And once we have demonstrated that devotion and commitment, and that is a journey which is unique to each person. Everybody will take their own. For years together, you can just be someone who goes to the temple once in a while. So that is a journey each person undertakes. And then when that devotion is strong and that commitment is demonstrated, then Devi showers her grace and she creates what is in us called as vichara. Vicharam means investigation. So then she creates this need within us to know more, and then she keeps pulling us towards that, and that creates a situation called dispassion. The dispassion is not like I don't like anything in life, but it is limited attachment, being able to see things in a right perspective. So she creates that vicharam. That is her grace. And when we have progressed in that, that is when she bestows her grace and a guru shows up. So learning from a guru is not something that can happen immediately. it has to be prepped for that. So, anyone who is wanting to become a surgeon, it's not like on day one they can enroll in a course where they will give a knife and say, go do the thing. It's not like that. You have to go through years of preparation before you're ready to receive that information, and that's what happens. So, the first step of any liberation is devotion, bhakti, which leads to dispassion, where we have a limited attachment, and therefore our mind becomes fertile enough to receive the information that the guru is able to pass along. And only with a certain perspective we'll be able to understand this jnana. And even after that, contemplation is needed, and then we have to live and breathe, and therefore it will become the nirvikalpa samadhi. And that person, while living, is able to willingly get into these states of bliss. So that way, that person can, no matter what's going on around them, they can be unaffected by all of those, and then they are able to reach a certain state of bliss. So this is what Tripura Rahasya says, and it's one of the essence of Tripura Rahasya. And Adi Shankaracharya, in all his greatness, told this entire process with just 4 lines. He said, Satsangatve Nissangatvam, Nissangatve Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve Nischalatatvam, Nischalatatve Jivan Muktihi. So satsangam, association with good, and that is thinking about God, associating with people who are kind, who have good nature, etc. So that satsangam creates in us nissangam. Satsangatve nissangatvam. The nissangatvam means limited attachment. So we are able to create dispassion. And when the dispassion comes, then nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatvam means the mind is not clouded. So there is clarity that's generated. So the vichara creates that clarity. And then nirmohatve nischalatatvam. Nischalam means something that is not changing. And that is the ultimate reality. That is steady. And that Nischala Tattvam, the aspect of it, the nature of that ultimate reality becomes clear. And when the person gets the Nischala Tattva, then they become Jivan Muktaha. So someone who while living is liberated. That's all for today. Thank you.